Look at that. Look at that. Little homie Nitro. You see that, Nitro? That is a 6-speed family hauler. It's got a Boss manifold, beautifully gold wrapped JLT cold air, some long tube headers, and tuned by me. So, what is this truck doing here today? Well, today this truck is here for me to show you guys why a supercharged Coyote F-150 is probably the best pickup truck you can buy as far as having fun and taking your family out and stuff like that. And you can all obviously tow and do all the other stuff. So we're putting this guy on today. That is a Gen 5 Whipple Superchargers. You stay away from that. He'll destroy that blower. So this truck is gonna get that Gen 5 blower, oil pump gears and injectors, keeping it on 93. It's gonna keep the stock throttle body, and it's probably gonna be on like 10 to 12 pounds of boost, right? So we are gonna, it's not gonna make that much power basically. It's gonna be a basic, truck. It's not gonna be an insane Whipple build, you know, with a 10 rib and making, you know, 20 pounds of boost or anything like that. It's gonna be a basic truck for now. He does have plans later on. He just needs to buy a fuel system and he'll be ready to go, honestly. And we're gonna make some basic power with it, nothing crazy, and we're gonna see what it does. So I think this is a perfect opportunity, because I almost forgot that he had this stuff, to show you guys the difference between a full bolt-on truck and a basic boosted truck, not a crazy boosted truck. I mean, when it comes to boosted trucks, you got your basic boosted truck, which is a 93 tune on, you know, low boost on a, you know, nothing crazy, just a basic little blower, putting it on the truck and tuning it, and that's it. Versus something like this or something like that, E85, full fuel system, high boost, you know. So like the different caliber builds here versus here. This is gonna be a fun truck, quite a bit faster than it is right now. And I think this is a great opportunity for you guys to kind of see that, and then probably make the decision whether you want to get a Whipple or not. All right, we're on our way to Mexico. Now, I've had some people comment. They've actually commented asking me, in 100% serious tone, why would you drive all the way to Mexico just to test the truck when you can just dyno it? And they were 100%, what are you looking at? God, man, people are fucking weird. And then, and they're 100% serious. They want to know why I would drive all the way to Mexico just to tune a truck, or just to test a truck. And it baffles them that I would drive to Mexico, that I'm driving from my shop 5 hours to Mexico, and they just cannot comprehend what that means or why I'm doing that. And to that I say, I enjoy driving. What do you want me to do? The tacos are good, you know, and they're cheap. You know, you can buy like 10 tacos for $5. But no, $5? Yeah, 10 tacos for about $5, inflation. So that's why. Now, I'm gonna cut right now, and then we're gonna keep recording once we get to Mexico. It's insane to me. All right, guys, we're back in Mexico. So here we are. Just gotta take a left up there at the light, and then we're gonna go ahead and get our 40 to 100 pull full bolt on. I do believe this truck's on 93 right now. I have to double check, but personally, I don't think it's the fairest of comparisons. I think that if you're comparing a full bolt on truck to a boosted truck, you really ought to have it on E85 just to give the full bolt on truck the best chance it's got, versus a 93 on with a blower. So that's I don't think it's the best comparison, but it's all right. You know, you'll get an idea. On E85 it is going to be faster, but not like an insane amount faster. It's still going to be faster with the blower all day in most cases. My personal NA truck is a lot faster than a regular, you know, just blower single cab 10-speed, and a lot faster than some people's best effort boosted single cab 10-speed. But this truck is just a full bolt-on truck and a real basic Whipple setup, so that's really important to know. It's not gonna be, this is not gonna be a fucking 9-second truck, you know, like that's just plain and simple. It does need quite a bit more to get it to that point, a lot more to get it to that point actually, but it is gonna be a lot faster than it is just full bolt on. to our little spot, do my 40 to 100 pull, just so that we know what it does. And then over the course of the next couple days, I'm gonna do this Whipple install, and we'll do another 40 to 100 pull with the Whipple. And what I mean when I say I drive 5 hours to Mexico, like usually like they just don't get it. So do a little 40 to 100, second gear,
30, 60, quarter mile.
All right, so she went 11:26, 40 to 100. So that's a number that we have to work with. Maybe kind of arbitrary to a lot of you guys, because maybe you don't use that number to compare vehicles, but 11:26, and I'm assuming 93, and so we'll get a decent apples to apples comparison. It's still apples and oranges, it's a blower versus a NA setup. So I think it's going to be quite a bit faster. We'll see by how much. And this is important to know, because horsepower to me is for most people is an arbitrary number. You guys, like, you really don't understand what it means. You do understand what it means, but like, I don't know, just seeing how much quicker something accelerates, especially something like a 40 to 100 roll, I think that's very understandable for most people. You get an idea, like, okay, it's 2 seconds quicker from 40 to 100 miles an hour, bro, or like it's half a second quicker from 40 to 100 miles an hour. And then it even shows us like the distance that we covered, and that on the acceleration, that 40 to 100 miles an hour acceleration. So like, okay, I'll be going 40 miles an hour 200 feet sooner than he'll be going 100 miles an hour. So I'll be accelerating on him 200 feet sooner. It's kind of like I think it's easier to understand, honestly, than just looking at a horsepower number. Like a Whipple advertises 775 horsepower from this blower. That is not true. I could put this truck on a dyno, and with a stock Whipple tune, and it'll probably make 470 horsepower. So you guys see 775, and then you see a guy with a turbo setup go dyno his truck, and it makes 775, and you go run them, and you'll get your doors blown off, you'll get destroyed. And that's just because there's a lot of things that go into horsepower. There's a lot of things that go into understanding what horsepower actually means, understanding what a dyno even is there for. It's not there for you guys to like be like, okay, my truck's faster than that guy's truck because it makes more power, it makes less power, or whatever. It's there for us as tuners or builders to be like, okay, I made this change and it picked up some horsepower, or I made this change and it came down some horsepower. That's all it's for. And what really matters is track times, or 60 to 130 or 40 to 100. Those times are what really translates into your everyday life, your everyday, you're cruising down the street and you see a guy, that wants to race you. If you go 2 seconds faster, 40 to 100, than you used to, you're going to be a lot faster. And then you go race him again, and you're another 2 seconds faster. You're going to, gap him even more, or you're going to beat him this time, or whatever. So I like time testing a lot more than I like dyno testing. And dyno testing has its place because I can pick up quite a bit of power pretty quickly when I dyno test something, and what I mean by that is in the matter of, an hour or so, I can get like 5 or 6 pulls, and the truck's still going to be nice and cold because we got a really badass AC fan in front of it at the dyno that I use, or we're only doing a single gear pull, so the trans isn't getting hot. Like, there's a lot to it, and we don't have to wait for the Mexican police to cool down a little bit because we're sitting on the dyno. That's the benefits of a dyno. So that when someone asks me they want to dyno tune their truck, I charge quite a bit more to dyno tune it, and I tell them, you have a bolt-on truck, we're gonna pick up maybe 5 horsepower if we're lucky. And then that's within the margin of error of most dynos if you're making 500 horsepower. So it's kind of not really worth it. Versus, let's say you have a boosted setup with some changes
with some small changes, I could pick up 50 horsepower, you know? So it's kind of, that's my outlook on dynos versus, you know, street testing, track testing. So let's pull this thing in, let me knock it out. Probably gonna be about 2 days, you know, of work and keeping up with, you know, obviously my remote tune customers and my customers that are gonna come in for me to tune them. So let's knock it out and let's test it again. All right, guys, we're back. So here's the truck. There's some garbage on here, probably because of my dog. But here's the truck. It's all buttoned up. Stock throttle body, you know, Gen 5 Whipple. Just making sure we got water in the for the heat exchanger for the blower. She's all done. Starts right up beautifully. Cold start. But yeah, just need to top up our fluids, which it looks like we're good to go. I'm gonna let the thermostat open so we can make sure it's full of water, and then we're gonna go ahead and go for a ride, tuning the truck, and then testing our 40 to 100 and see what kind of improvements we got. I have a base tune in there right now. I'm gonna make sure it's safe, make sure everything's happy, and then I think even with just a base tune, we'll have a pretty large gain over Boss Manny. That's not his Boss Manny. His Boss Manny's right there. So I think we'll have a pretty large gain. Now, don't be hurt if I turn you away for a job like this. I really don't have time to be doing too much mechanic work nowadays. Mostly tuning work. So quick jobs like you know, headers or a manifold swap, I'll take those all day long. Bigger jobs like a Whipple and oil pump gears, if you're patient, I may take it, but preferably I will probably send you to one of my many friends here in town in Houston. There's plenty of shops here in Houston that I recommend. They all do great work. So if you guys message me directly saying that you want a Whipple installed, I'll probably refer to one of those guys, and then I'll tune the truck after you get your Whipple, oil pump gears, fuel system, whatever you need to do. So let's go ahead and tune this truck, and then let's test that 40 to 100 and see what kind of gains we make. All right, guys, so here we are driving the Whipple 2017 F-150 crew cab. Now, one thing that is true is that your base file that I send you for a remote tune, especially if it's a pretty basic setup, it should run and drive almost perfect. All the tuning is going to come in, well, that's if the install was done right. It should run and drive perfect. All the tuning will come in for wide open throttle type things, so like making more power, you know, and dialing it in that way. And you know, for your particular drivability, like you might like it holding gears a little longer, you might like it shifting into the higher gears a little earlier. That's a personal preference, and we can talk about that too. But it should run and drive nicely. And if it doesn't, more than likely you have a problem. You have a problem. You know, and that's for most basic setups. So this truck running and driving beautifully, perfectly. We will, like I said, just gonna make sure that this tune's nice and safe. If it's nice and safe, everything looks happy, everything looks good to go, we'll go ahead and do a 40 to 100 pull with this tune in it, and then we'll actually start, you know, making more, you know, trying to make more power with it. We're fuel limited right now, but we can make more power in other ways. And when I say fuel limited, I mean fuel quality limited. So it's on 93, but it's only that's on a 4-inch pulley, so it's not making a ton of boost. But we're on 93, so we are fuel limited. In other words, knock limited. So it'll start. We'll get pre-ignition issues with 93 before we make the most amount of power that this blower can make, or whatever. Like, so if we're on the 85, we're hardware limited. We're on 93, so we're knock limited. That's kind of the easiest way to put it. So we'll make the most amount of power that this particular fuel will allow us. It drives amazing. I love Whipple trucks. If you my favorite trucks to drive, like just cruising around, are Whipple trucks. And I guess that says a lot because I drive a ton of these trucks, you know. And my favorite ones to drive are Whipple trucks by a long shot. It just feels like you have a huge like 454, you know, with like 500 foot-pounds of torque at 2,000 RPM, because you can just like, you get in it and you don't have to give it so much gas to get the truck rolling, you know. And that's what I love about Whipple trucks. You can get in it, you can pass somebody without flooring it, you know. It just feels like you have a ton of power all the time. And it's beautiful, really. And they cruise around so nicely. Like, just, it feels like a nice stock truck when you're just like rolling like this. And I love it. I wish these guys would get out of the way. It's like they're racing at who can go 45 miles an hour the fastest. I don't know about you guys, but I hate being right next to somebody. If I'm right next to somebody, I slow down or I speed up. I cannot stand being right next to somebody. So I don't understand how people do that, like this guy in front of me. We'll take this turn around. We'll take the next one. This guy behind me is pretty close. All right, we're gonna do a little second gear pull. I'm gonna let these people go around me because they're annoying me. We're in Mexico, remember? I forgot to mention that I drove all the way to Mexico again. I know, it's a long drive for something so simple, but these are the lengths that I go through to make sure my customers' vehicles are nice and happy. So we're gonna do a little second gear pull up to about 4,000 RPM or so, just to make sure that she's happy. And then if she's happy, we'll take it up to 6, and then we'll take it up further than that. Okay, maybe faster than, maybe we'll go to 5 now. So she's spun a little bit, and that's the base tune. So we'll just make sure she's happy, and then we'll go on to the next tune. All right, guys, so my friend here has absolutely no tire, so we're gonna go ahead and do a third gear pull for our 40 to 100. It'll be faster if I did a second gear pull by a long shot, but I'm not trying to look at the trees. I'm trying to go straight. I'm not trying to put this truck in the trees. So a third gear pull should be appropriate here so that we don't spin like crazy, because this truck does not have any tire at all, like even these stock tires or these street tires. He has nothing. So 40 to 100, let's go. And it's just going really slow because
60.
We don't have any
quarter mile.
All right. So let's check that out. All right, so 40 to 100 pulls are useless. This truck will not do a 40-100 pull with these tires, but we can probably do a 60 to 100 and compare that to our previous 60 to 100s. So let's see.
60. Quarter mile.
All right. And she's been in that. So I bet you that's quite a bit quicker. Again, 40-100 pulls, useless in this truck at this point in time. All right, guys, so it went 7.15 seconds, 60 to 100 versus 8.39 seconds, 60 to 100. So we picked up, and only 40 miles an hour. So it's not like we were going, you know, a whole 60 miles an hour or 70 miles an hour or something like that. And only 40 miles an hour, we picked up over a second. That's a lot. What else did we? It did distance wise, it was about 1,000 feet for the full bolt-on setup versus 800 feet. So we picked up 200 feet. So again, think about that. If you're racing somebody 1 second earlier, so one whole second earlier and 200 feet earlier, you're going 100 miles an hour. It'll take them another 1 second to go 100 miles an hour. So basically, if you're going 100 miles an hour, they're going 80 miles an hour, and you're pulling on them. That's what when somebody's pulling on you, that's what's happening, is they're going a higher mile an hour than you are at that particular time. So if you're going that high, if you're
going that higher mile an hour earlier, you're accelerating quicker, you're winning the race. So that's quite a big difference. I wish this truck had tires, because that was in 3rd gear, and as you can see, it was absolutely not in the power band, you know, for a while. So if phone cut out there. So we're back. This truck's useless in 2nd gear. Just useless in 2nd gear with these all-terrains it has, or semi-all-terrains. Let's see. Look at this. Buddy likes to party. But you know, he's telling me that too. They just burn out like crazy. So he needs to get himself some good tires, and then we can go ahead and do 1st, 2nd, and 3rd gear pulls, or 1st and 2nd gear pulls. I can only do 3rd gear pulls with it right now. I did 1 2nd gear pull, and it was just all over the place. And I'm not one to risk a customer's truck like that. I mean, I'll do pulls in them because I have to, you know, because that's part of tuning. If you're not doing pulls in the truck, or if your customer's not doing pulls in the truck, you don't know if it's doing what it's supposed to do. But sometimes, you know, when you're making probably around 600 horsepower or so, and you have tires like these, and on top of having tires like these, they don't have any tread on them, it's probably not a good idea, you know. And he doesn't have a posi in it either, so it's an open diff. So even if it's spinning, it's not going straight. I can deal with a truck that's spinning and going straight. This truck will be spinning and kicking out to the left, and then I'll end up looking at trees and you know, saying hi to my grandfather, because I'll be dead. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go through the truck, make sure that everything's still, there's no leaks, there's no loose bolts or anything like that. Everything checks out. I'm gonna tell the customer to come pick it up, and we'll see how he likes it. All right, guys, you know what? For the love of the game, and because I have tires here, I'm gonna go ahead and put these tires on that truck. So these are 305 4517 ET Street R's. And I think they should do just fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and put those tires on the truck, just because I really want to see what it actually does with a legit pull, 60 to or 40 to 100, not a 3rd gear pull, 40 to 100, 60 to 100, because it's a lot faster. It's still faster than the bolt-on stuff, even doing a 3rd gear pull, but it doesn't do it justice to show you guys just how fast this truck actually is. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw these tires on, and we're gonna go ahead and do another pull. We're gonna go ahead and do another 40 to 100, 60 to 100 pull with the truck. No leaks, everything checks out, nuts and bolts all look good. So tune looks happy. It's on 93. I'm not gonna push it like crazy, because you run into one bad batch of 93, and the truck is gone. So I kind of hold back a little bit on 93 just to keep you guys from blowing it up. And it's the guy's daily driver. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw those ET Streets on the truck, and we're gonna go see what it does. 60 to 100 with those tires. Hopefully it doesn't spin. I don't think it will. I really don't think it will. So let's give it a shot. All right, guys, I got the 305s on there. Here's my little buddy Nitro, who's absolutely not happy about me not hanging out with him right now, but obviously quite a bit smaller than the fronts. So let me show you guys a quick little trick on how you can run different size front tires and rear tires without it going into a pseudo limp mode. So right here is your wheel speed sensor for your passenger side front wheel. Put the camera on. Disconnect that bad boy, and now your ABS is disabled. This is for off-road use only. If you do this, you will not have any ABS, traction control, or anything of that matter, but you'll be able to drive with a different size rear tire than front tire. I do this whenever I go racing in any decently fast truck. I do that because the ABS will freak out sometimes, and it's best to have it disabled for that type of thing. Remember, you won't have ABS enabled. You're gonna have to learn how to pump the brakes whenever you brake. See, I learned how to drive in my Mustang over there. Obviously doesn't have ABS, so whenever I had to slam on the brakes, you have to pump the brakes. You have to do it, your leg turns into the ABS. And very important that you know that. Very important that you also know that this is dangerous. This is
very dangerous, and I don't think you should do this. I do this all the time, but also this is kind of my job, you know? So if your job is accounting or something, it's probably a little different than my job, and you're probably a lot better with accounting than I am. Just like I'm a lot better with these trucks and racing these trucks than you probably are. So be careful, you know, just like you're probably better at handling risk with the IRS than I am. You know, so be careful. Look at those sweet bell acts. Be careful when you disable your ABS. Disables all traction control, disables all the ABS, disables all that stuff. And if you know what you're doing, in my opinion, the truck is a little bit safer. So let's go see what she does. All right, guys, as you can see, I got the Christmas tree on, ABS light, traction control light, whatnot. And that's because I have the ABS disconnected. The ABS is disconnected. Mile an hour is gonna be off, obviously, so just remember that. But we don't care about that because we're racing, right? So we're gonna go ahead and make our way back to Mexico, and I got the tires at 19 psi. Oh no, 18 psi. They'll probably hook on 20 psi, but I don't want to waste my time, go out there at 20 psi, 22 psi, and then blow the tires off, and then have to go back to the shop and air the tires down. And no. Let's just put them at 18 psi. We don't care that much. We just want it to hook, and let's make a 40 to 100 pull in second gear, and see if we have see what kind of improvements we actually have. I might even do a little bit of burnout, just like I said, so we don't waste our time. I don't want to waste any pulls. Well, guys, looks like we will not be doing a pull right here, and for good reason too. So we'll come back later. The Mexican federales are out here, and also the truck's a little hot right now. It's a little heat, so I gotta let this blower cool off a little bit. So these this blower would be a lot better with with fans on the heat exchanger. You know, so when you're at a stop, it's still cooling off the water in the blower and the heat exchanger. So it's hot as hell right now. It says it's 99 degrees. Yeah, it's about 99 degrees. Our IATs are about 120, and that's hot, man. That's hot. Another thing I really think that you guys should know that I think would be some people think they know everything, you know, and I think if you know everything, you should know this. IATs, the colder the IAT, the faster the truck's gonna be, the more power it's gonna make. If you start your pool, if you're doing a dig and you have a 6,000 pound truck and your IATs are 145 degrees, it's not gonna take off hard. It's gonna take off slow, especially if you're not on E85. It's gonna take off slow. 140, 145 degrees is hot. It's really hot. That's like, what do you think's gonna happen? So the cooler the air is, the more power you're gonna make. If you're at the track and you're trying to go for a time, if you're racing somebody, push your truck from the start bring your truck up to the staging lanes and push it from the start. You know, push it all the way up to the start line. All the way up to the start line. If you have friends, they'll help you out. If you don't have friends and you're crying about it, and you're like, oh, my truck's heavy, I don't want to push it. Too bad, go push it. It's not a big deal. Like, I always push my truck, man. The first like 2 years of me going to the track with my truck, I went to the track by myself every single time. I never had anybody really to go to the track with me. Where was you at? You weren't with me when I was shooting in the gym. No, but yeah, I didn't have anybody to go with me, so go. You know, like, it's not that big of a deal. No, we'll do a 40 to 100 right here. I think we'll be good. All right, a little 40 to 100 pull. See how fast we're going.
60.
Oh yeah, quite a bit faster from second gear, starting at 3,000 in third gear. So we'll see how much we picked up with that. It felt great. It felt great.
All right, would you look at that? Simply changing the tires out so we can start in second gear over third gear, we picked up quite a bit of time. So full bolt on, this truck went 1139, I think, 40 to 100 versus 687. Jesus Christ. That's a big difference, huh? Six, whatever the hell it is, versus 1139. And then 501, 60 to 100 versus the 7 seconds we got earlier, and the with the street tires starting in third gear. So we picked up another 2 seconds just starting in second gear versus third gear. That's astonishing. That's a big deal. It's a big deal. So the truck is way faster, obviously. And I think the customer's gonna be ridiculously happy once he gets some tires, because on those the guy likes to do burnouts and stuff, so he'll be happy with that too. Hopefully he doesn't blow it up, IAT skyrocket while he's doing a burnout, because no air is moving past the heat exchanger, and I'm gonna have to explain all that to him. But the truck's doing great, the shift perfect, gear change exactly where I wanted it to be. I think he's gonna be super happy with the truck. I'm happy with the truck already. 742 feet versus 1,231 feet. Dude, so you're telling me that if I'm doing a 40 roll against somebody, he's got a full bolt-on 6-speed F-150, and I got a Whipple Supercharger on 93, a Whipple Supercharger on 93 with oil pump gears, not a big, crazy build. I'm gonna hit 100 miles an hour. What is that? 500 feet before him? 500 feet before him and 4 seconds earlier than him? I'm blowing the doors off of that truck. It's not even gonna be close. So this is a pretty... If you're thinking about getting a Whipple Supercharger for your F-150, get it. I mean, it is, in my opinion, especially for a daily driver, it's the best power adder you can get, 100%. I like turbos. I like, I like turbos. I like Pro Chargers, whatever. I love Whipples. They're my favorite. Look, my truck's got turbos. My truck's not a daily driver anymore. I can daily drive it, but Whipples, man, they're my favorite trucks to drive. What are my favorite trucks to tune? Whenever a customer is like got an intermittent issue because whoever installed their shit, whatever, and I got to check it out and I got to drive the truck around for a few days, I love it, man, because they drive so nice. They drive so nice. So I hope you guys liked that video. I hope it was informative to you, and I hope it helps you make a decision on what power adder you should buy if you're in that tax bracket.